I, my biggest goal is both of them are franchise concept. My biggest goal, well, it's not the biggest, but um, ultimately for the VCPA and for Shakespeare and Veterans, I would love a facility. If you imagine something along the Lincoln Center, uh, a, where you have a building allocated to music, building allocated to dance and movement, a building allocated to acting, both theater and film, and then the fine arts as well. And with that, you have, of course, your professional, just like Lincoln Center, you have the big theaters or big showrooms or whatever branch doing professional work. And it's free. In my opinion, it should be free to enter. That way it's not $180 a seat and making it classist. It should be, anybody should be able to go in and see it. So you got the professional theater, gallery, whatever branch it is, whatever branch of the arts. Then you have the smaller, more developmental spaces, and inside there you have a conservatory where you're teaching each one of those things. And of course, attached to that then would be housing for those who need it. And you're using this as a funnel to actually not only share the arts and get them to open up in the arts, but to employ them in the arts. I mean, our 4 E's, as Keith and I call it, we embrace the vets, employ the vets, so if you're paying them, they're more likely to do it, and educating them through the process, and thereby empowering not only them but the whole community. Because now you have professional quality work, and keep in mind there's all the jobs you would have in any other job. I mean, just not everybody has to be a dancer or an actor or a sculptor. You could be stage management, construction, set design, lighting, what have you. And the idea is we have them, of course, working at our facility, but they're going out into the world then and doing and continuing that. They're now teaching and mentoring, and they're starting their own. And I would love not only one facility, but I would love one in every state that then does outreach. So, for example, you have, just arbitrarily picking, Minneapolis, a giant veteran center for the performing arts, and then they do outreach and work with a smaller community. You know, Albert Lee. I'm from that region, so I don't remember. You know, Iowa or into Wisconsin, and you've got smaller communities that don't have necessarily the numbers or the attendance or the funding, but still need it. So you're doing one play a year for them on Veterans Day, or you're doing a film, or you're doing a documentary of the veterans in that community, and you show it in that community center on Veterans Day, and you have a meet and greet after. You know, anything to begin this dialogue rather than. And you know, I'll say this. The other, I know I keep going on, but I want to do that. That's the ideal, because we should be doing that on a level that the Greeks did it. You know, remember all the writers in Greece were ancient Greece were veterans. They served in the military, and then they came back, and then they were writers and artists and philosophers. And from what I understand, the Navajo and Lakota nations in the Southwest United States do this. This is what I've been told, and I'm trying desperately to get involved and go through one of their processes so I can see it firsthand, and we can incorporate much of it with ours. But from what I understand, what they do is they keep their veterans outside the community at first, and they put them through a series of rituals. And some of that includes sweats. You know, they have the sweat lodge and purification processes, and helping them purge some of it. Understanding it's not a formula that you leave it and just forget. It's cleanse, clean, and then they come into the community. And once they're going through the rituals, and then there's a bigger ritual for the whole community. And when they get in that community, from what I understand, it's a matter of that veteran or those veterans, because sometimes it's a group of them coming back at the same time. It's whatever you experienced, we experienced. Whatever you're afraid of, we're afraid of. Whatever you're proud of, we're proud of. Whatever you're guilty of, we're guilty of. You know what I mean? We share it. You can talk to any member of the community at any time, and we're there for you. You've got a face-to-face. There's a face on that person that served, and there's a face for the person who served to that community. It's not just civilians and they don't understand. It's now you have to face the person, and they share it, and they have a much better reintegration rate, frankly. Another example of this, the power of it is Rwanda, Uganda. After all that horrible genocide by machete, neighbors killing neighbors, and rape and all this stuff, they've been doing basically a form of theater where they have these community meetings and they actually confront each other. And I mean, if you've ever seen film on it, a friend of mine and my wife's went and saw this, experienced it firsthand. She was telling us it's the most horrific thing and the most powerful thing at the same time to see somebody who raped somebody in the room and go, "I'm sorry," and the woman who's raped, say, "I forgive you," and because now there's a face, and I think it'll change things because they're again, much like we've had war every 10 years. They've had genocide in Rwanda, Uganda. It's been contracted, by the way, in my opinion. Not conspiracy theory, but if you really look at it, it's not. It's being provoked, is what I'm getting at, and not by the locals. But in any case, they've not had it. They've gone one of their longer dry spells of not having that violence that they've ever had. And I think it'll continue if they continue doing that. I mean, you will see. I know if they continue that kind of communion, I guess, through their community, you will see a huge change. And you will see them because now you've seen that person, you've talked to that person, and now try to do it. It ain't gonna happen. We're wired against that. We're actually physiologically wired against war. That's why all the militaries worldwide spend so much time and money and effort on reprogramming it to be able to do it, to bypass that part of our brain that says, don't kill your own kind. We go, well, here's how you do it. So you shoot at a silhouette that's faceless. All the training that we do and did. So anyways, rambling on.